Thank you everyone for coming. So this is our ALASC Executive Committee info session. We will be starting our elections for this upcoming cycle soon. So we're holding this event so that those of you who are interested in joining our executive committee can kind of ask us questions and hear more about what it's like to actually have a leadership position in the organization. Because we know, sometimes you read the nomination forms and we do have like a job description on there of what we do in each of our roles, but the reality might be different, or you might have like specific questions that you want to ask us before you decide to get involved. So this is to do that, and we thank you for coming. This event will be recorded for the people who can't come. So if you're not comfortable with being recorded, feel free to like turn off your camera or just mute yourself and you can type in the chat anything you're comfortable with. So we have a couple of our executive committee members here today. And we're going to start by doing self-introduction. So I'll go first. I'm hosting this event as the events coordinator. My name is Kat, and I've been the events coordinator for about, I guess it's only been a semester now, but I started in the spring semester last spring. But I've actually been part of ALASC since I started here at the iSchool, so it feels like it's been forever now. But I started in like spring 2023, and I joined ALASC during my first semester. So I started as a social media assistant, and then I was sort of like an events assistant, and now I'm an events coordinator. So I've been involved in ALASC since I started, and I really enjoy working with this group. And we've accomplished so many amazing things during the time I've been here. So that's a little bit about me. I'll pass it on to my other executive committee members now so they can also introduce.
I'll go next. Um, Hi, everyone. My name is Connor. I'm an events assistant here at the ALASC. I've been an events assistant since spring of last year. So when Kat became events coordinator, I came into the role of events assistant. And I did not join the ALASC until about like halfway, I would say, through my program. I'm currently in my final semester. So I will be leaving the ALASC, once I'm able to graduate and get my e-port done. Um, but yeah, I guess my journey is much shorter than maybe some other people's here because I joined so late in my school career, but I'm really glad I did. So that's my introduction, I guess.
I can go next. My name is Rebecca, and I am the social media coordinator. I started as a social media assistant, I think, over a year ago now, right when Kat joined as well. And yeah, we were social media assistants, and now I'm the coordinator. And my last semester will be in the spring. I'll be graduating in the spring. And really, I initially joined the ALA student chapter just to network with people because, being in an online environment, you don't really get to meet a lot of people. Like, there's so many people in so many different classes. And this is kind of a chance to, see the same people and talk to the same people every week. So it was a really great opportunity to network and really, make some connections, make some friends. And yeah, I've really valued my time here. And it's been really fun to just, to get to know everyone, to share a bunch of information and to help out like on a team scale.
I can go next. My name is Sabrina. I am the blogging team leader. I started out in ALSC in my second semester. I wanted to say I started out in June as a blog assistant. The reason why I joined ALASC is because I'm making a transition out of retail into librarianship. So I really wanted to get a lot of experience with networking, but any opportunity that I could take to kind of like take my library career a little bit further. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun. And I'm excited for the next semester.
I can go next. My name is Eddie, and I'm the membership coordinator. I started off as the membership coordinator, so I have not known any other position. Um, So I started with the student chapter in last spring in January. This is my second year at the high school. So I started last fall. So I feel like I'm just getting started with things, and I did join because I wanted to meet people, network, and I have met some awesome people. So I'm glad I did, and I still feel like I have a way to go in the chapter too, which is kind of exciting. That's it for me for now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jade. I'm the current ALASC chair. I started out last semester as the vice chair and have since been promoted to the chair position. I've been in this program for 4 years, actually. I've been paying for it one semester at a time and knocking them out slowly. So I'm very excited to graduate at the end of this semester and finish my e-port. Yeah, I was a bit tentative being in a leadership position in a student group, especially with my last year. But I'm really glad that I did join this group because they are all just so wildly talented and dedicated, not only to just the profession, but to the success of this chapter and involving other students. And I'm just amazed and blown away every time the members tell me what they're doing. So I would encourage you to ask us questions. It's not as scary as it seems. I've previously served as a vice chair for the first generation student group, and I was like a pilot member for the sports analytic group. That's how long I've been here. So every student group is here to help you succeed, and we are so glad to have you.
Thanks everyone for introducing yourselves. So now that we've done our self-introductions, we'll open it up to our audience who is here today. If you all have any specific questions for us, feel free to unmute yourself and ask us now, or you can just post it in the chat. So we'll see if anyone has any questions to start off.
Actually, I have a question for all of our prospective members. Is everyone familiar with the ALA and what ALA does and what it means to be a student chapter? Be good. Got some head nods, some head shakes. All right, well, in case we all need a refresher, ALA is the American Libraries Association. It's the largest professional organization for librarians in North America. There are student chapters located across the country. We just happen to be the best because we won Student Chapter of the Year last year. And it is a really great chance to work not only with your peers, but also with iSchool faculty and staff to plan events, get connected, and continue to build this online community. Yes, Eddie, definitely a self pat on the back there.
Thank you for that, Jade. And it doesn't look like we have any questions at the moment. I know some of us, oh, I do see a question. So someone just posted in the chat, can first year students join ALAS or are there certain requirements? So to answer your question, actually, the nice thing about ALASC is that everyone is actually automatically part of the student chapter. If you are an iSchool student, like you are just automatically considered a member. What you choose to do with that membership is up to you. So you can attend our events. You can get more involved by joining our executive committee. So that's kind of why we're here today. So everyone's a member, but if you want to join our executive committee, which is our leadership team, and sort of help with running events or like writing blogs for our blog, our website, or getting involved on that level, this is sort of your opportunity to get more involved in the student chapter. And yes, yeah, your membership is automatic. So if you're an iSchool student, if you're enrolled in the iSchool, you're automatically considered a member of the student chapter.
So quickly, can you tell us more about the kind of work you guys do as part of the leadership team? So for example, the events that you mentioned, sort of what that entails. I could glean what a membership coordinator does, but what kind of events are you putting on and what kinds of sort of networking opportunities are you creating? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, of course. So I think each of us can kind of go around and describe what we do. So as the events coordinator, I plan all the events for the student chapter, including this one that we're having right now. We have like different events every semester, but there are some that we hold on a regular semesterly basis. So we have trivia night, which is like when we have basically a trivia night and we invite people to come play a game with us, and then if you know the most trivia, you can win a prize. So we have fun events like that. And then we have another semesterly event that we call Connect Over Coffee. And that's when we invite alumni to come back and talk about their experiences now that they've graduated and they're out in the field. Do they have any advice that they want to give to prospective and current students, or like real world advice that they want to give? So we have events like that. We also try to organize speaker events, different themed events. So later on the semester, we're hoping to hold a health librarianship panel. If you're interested specifically in that field of special librarianship, or you want to learn more about health sciences librarianship. So we have different types of events every semester. Another one we had last semester was a open mic poetry night, and that was the first time we had that. So I put that together as well. And really coordinating events, since we're doing this online and it's virtually event planning, I would say some of it is similar to planning an event in person, but a lot of it is, just doing outreach. So you're not meeting people in person. A lot of it is emailing, saying, hey, I'm interested in putting on this event, and would you be interested in speaking at our student event? It's also a lot of collaboration with the other student chapters that we have at the iSchool and seeing if they want to work on an event together. Sometimes we have common interests, so we collaborate and put together an event for the iSchool. And then sometimes we have opportunities to, even though the iSchool is a virtual program, we can network with people at in-person conferences. So because of my work in the ALASC, I was able to go to the ALA annual conference this summer, and I did meet people from the iSchool and people from all across the profession in person. So then I had the opportunity to network with them there and sort of build connections and say, hey, I am the events coordinator for ALASC at my school. If you're interested in doing an event with us or coming in to talk, we would love to have you. So there's like that opportunity to build those connections in person and virtually. And it's a really great way, I feel, to network, because as you're putting on these events, you get to know a lot of different people and work with a lot. And because we do our events on Zoom, like you get very comfortable with Zoom. I mean, I'm honestly still learning the tips and tricks of navigating Zoom since it's only my second semester as the events coordinator, but I've definitely gotten more comfortable with it. So you can build your like, technological competency, and I lost my train. But yeah, you can learn a lot of skills. Um, if anyone else wants to add on to that, because I lost my train of thought, please feel free.
I think a good example of the networking was when we won Student Chapter of the Year, and we were given a monetary allowance to attend ALA, and that enabled us to meet like Dr. Chow in person and also network with a lot of other students who were there at the iSchool reception. I think that was really valuable.
For
And I
me,
know, sorry, go ahead, Connor.
no, go ahead. No, go right ahead.
I was going to say, I know she also kind of asked specifically about like a day in our life as like leadership, in our leadership positions. So like for example, Sabrina, like what do you feel like you really do as like the blogging coordinator? Like what does your day to day look like? Or like, for me, like I said, it's a lot of sending emails, it's a lot of doing outreach, and learning how to use Zoom. Like what would you say is specifically your position?
For me specifically, I feel like the blogging coordinator will plan out a series of blog posts and then assign them or delegate them to the blogging assistants to get them written. And the content is very much up to kind of like what we want to do. A lot of it is in support of the ALASC event. So oftentimes when there's an event, we will write a blog post to support that event. Um, and we will also write about our own interests as well too. We'll focus on maybe like banned books week or anything that's kind of like going on in the club. I know that our upcoming blog is going to be about this event here.
I was just going to say, as an events assistant, I kind of do similar things as Kat does, except I kind of focus just on one or two events throughout the entire semester. So whereas Kat is kind of like would be in charge of most, if not all, of the outreach for an event or the planning of an event, I kind of take a focus towards one event and assist her with that event. So for example, she mentioned that health sciences librarianship panel. I'm kind of spearheading that. And my entire like goal will be to make sure that event goes through. And then if there's any other events that come up throughout the semester, not only attend them, but offer any assistance that I can, whether it's hosting the Zoom or helping to come up with a script or trivia night questions. That's sort of what I do. And I find that especially helpful because when I started wanting to like kind of get more involved, the main reason I joined ALSC is I wanted to put I wanted to see faces. I wanted to see the other people that were going through the same struggle that I was. Because, it was kind of boring. It was lonesome. You're sitting there like in your apartment or whatever, just working on school by yourself. And you're just like, wow, I wonder if other people are going through the same thing. And so when the call came out for elections and I was like, oh, this would be a great idea for me to, meet other people. And I would love to say that I have met some great, very smart and talented people who have helped me kind of stay on track, but also not feel so like sheltered and like, it's just me versus the world. When in reality, there's so many people who are very kind and very wonderful who are going through the exact same thing that you are. And I find that very helpful, more, honestly, more than anything. And having these executive committee meetings and working on these events not only helps with that, but it helps me understand the reach that the ALSC can have, whether it's a small event like this or an even larger event like our trivia nights or around the world library tours, where we see either a few, maybe 10, 15 people, upwards to 80, 90 people. And seeing all of those faces really helps put in perspective, just how important the ALASC is and how big the iSchool is when it can feel really small, when in reality it's very social. There's a lot of people who, like I said, are going through the same thing you are. And I found that the most engrossing thing for me.
I want to go ahead and second what Connor said, like everything, because that was perfect. I couldn't have said it better myself. For my role, membership coordinator, I could say a little bit about that. So for the membership coordinator, what I do is try to encourage students to get involved with ALA, and so it's kind of like outreach too, in a way. And I do that through publishing a monthly newsletter. So my time that I spend is kind of like researching like current trends like in the wider library world, and like look at news from ALA, because after all we are ALA student chapter, and also promote events that Kat and her team are doing, and the blogs that Sabrina and her team are writing. So I like to include all that in the newsletter. And if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, please do so. I'll put the link in the chat. But yeah, so that's basically what I do. But I want to point out that my predecessor, when I was onboarding, she told me that it's kind of the position you kind of make it what you want it to be. So that like encouragement to connect with ALA and to outreach to students, it's taken the form of a newsletter, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. It could be, up to you. So if you're like a creative person and you want to do like more with it or something else, that this position is a good one to consider. Oh, look, I think my time is up.
That's perfect. Thank you for that, Eddie. I just want to jump in and add that Like I totally agree with what Eddie said. Like a lot of these positions are flexible and you can get what you want out of them. So for example, I mentioned that we have a lot of semesterly events that we do. So I made the decision to follow in my predecessor's footsteps and kind of keep the tradition of holding those events semesterly. But like I said, I also came up with new events. So like as an events coordinator or even as an events assistant, like you can bring in your own event ideas of things that you want to see in the organization or things that you want to see us do. So you don't have to do the same things that we've been doing. And we definitely welcome fresh perspectives. And I would say that's kind of true of a lot of the positions. Part of the nice thing about being part of the student organization is that you're able to build skills that you might not have the opportunity to get in real life because we all know getting a job is super hard. So part of what I really loved about having the opportunity to join ALASC is that when I started at the iSchool, I was a young professional. Like I was working my first library job and like only getting the opportunity to really shelve books or do very basic customer service. But my passion is event planning. Like I really wanted to be involved in event planning. And obviously at work, I wasn't getting that opportunity. So getting involved in the student chapter and being able to help with social media and then move on to planning events meant that I got the outlet to do the things that I love. And now that I do have experience with like social media coordination and event planning, like I'm able to go back to work and say, look, I do have these skills, and now I'm able to do those things at work as well. So you can use these opportunities here at the iSchool to build skills that you can directly take back to work, and leverage that so that you can promote yourself at work and get better positions and move up to your dream job by building this. And I think Jade, you were going to speak earlier, so please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight, we got a question in the chat from Juliana, and that is, what does the time commitment look like for the executive committee? And it varies, again, based on what you want your role. If you're like, I'm, comfortable providing an hour or two of my time per week, that's great. If you're like, I want to give 15 hours a week, that's great too. All student groups, especially ours, we are very flexible with what you want to bring to the committee and how you envision your role. And that's the beauty of it. We have a guiding constitutional document that gives the very base level job duties for each role. But if you want to expand on that, that's, again, we put that power in our committee members to make it what they want. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and to build on that, we do have a monthly executive committee meeting. So can expect at least two, if you're in an elected position or a coordinator position. So like if you're leading a team or you're one of the officers, you do have to attend the monthly executive committee meeting. But if you're just an assistant, you don't have to attend those meetings. So that is something to consider if you're looking for a lower level of commitment, but you still want to get involved, then you can consider an assistant position. But the monthly executive committee meetings are just a way for all of us on the leadership team to kind of touch base about what we've been doing individually in our roles, and get feedback from the rest of the committee, see if there's anything we need to work on as a team. So it's our way of like keeping each other accountable and reporting. Outside of that, I think it's like what Jade said, the time commitment for each role really varies. Like for me as an event coordinator, it varies a lot because there will be times when I've finished planning an event or I'm just waiting for my contacts, the people I've reached out to get back to me. So I'm really not doing anything because I'm waiting. Or there'll be times when it's leading up to an event like this one and I'm doing graphics, I'm promoting, I'm preparing the script for the event or all the logistical things that need to go on, or I'm supporting other teams with their activities. So it does vary a lot depending on what your role is or what time of the semester it is and like what you have.
Yeah, I was gonna piggyback off of that, Kat, because it also depends on like different roles too. Like you might like for instance for the social media team, you can plan 100 posts in advance to be scheduled to go out. And therefore, maybe you don't have anything to do that week or you don't have any time. I mean, we all have like jobs. I was on other student groups during, my time here doing other stuff for the school. So in certain positions, like being on the social media team, you can, some weeks you might not, you might do an hour of work or you might have already planned everything the week before. And then other weeks, you might be being asked to promote some events from, the events team or new blog posts from the blogging team, or you might be asked to post things from other student groups. So it varies from week to week. I would say, in terms of the social media team, I think it's kind of the more flexible one in terms of your time commitment, just because you can get things done ahead of time and there's a lot of creativity involved. There's not like a set rule of creating a graphic. Like you can be as creative as you want to. It's one of the reasons why I first decided to be a social media assistant is because I just like to be creative and I like to do graphics and things like that. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. We all share each other's ideas and share our graphics with each other. Um, and if you were interested in being an assistant, you would either help create graphics, you could be in control of Instagram or Facebook, or it's flexible in terms of what you want to get out of it, pretty much for the social media aspect of it.
This was so awesome. Thank you all so much. The other thing I was wondering about is if you could say a few more words about the the onboarding process, kind of the passing the baton process, if you would.
So in an ideal world, we send out our election poll and a bunch of people are like, oh, I'd love to be this, I'd love to apply for these roles. We review them internally, we interview the candidates, and we put out the actual poll. And then from there, once the election results are finalized, ideally you would have at least a month with the person that you would be taking over the position for to shadow. And then what's also nice too, with a lot of student groups, but especially with this cohort that we have, is that there's a lot of people staying. So it's not like you need to memorize everything in a month. We have a lot of group knowledge here, and that helps ease any transition. And then we also have a lot of documentation to support it too. So it might be like, oh, a month at the end of the semester can be really I can't even talk, frantic. There we go. Especially too with the holidays coming up, people going on vacation, people getting sick. Like the end of the semester is always a crapshoot for like how people are doing. But just know that in addition to that shadow time, you also have documentation that you can refer back to. And if you do something incorrectly, it's not the end of the world, because part of being a leader is learning and doing it better the next time.
Yes, absolutely, to what Jade said. So we have the formal onboarding process where you're able to spend at least ideally a month or a couple of weeks directly shadowing the person who is currently in the position that you're going to be taking over from them. But a lot of times we do have people in the organization who have been in that role before and they've stepped down or they've transitioned to another position. So for example, like any incoming social media assistant, I was a social media assistant before, so I could like help with the onboarding, even though I'm technically not part of the social media. So there's a lot of like internal support in the sense that your onboarding can be a continuous process that continues long after you've already been formally inducted into your role. And I would say that everyone is really understanding and gives each other like grace and leeway too with getting adapted to your position, because even though this position is what you make of it, and it's all volunteer work, we all understand that we're here to build skills to get something out of our time here at the high school, and that we're not getting paid for this. But there can also be sort of this pressure of, yeah, I'm taking on a leadership position. So like I know one thing is, when I started as an events coordinator, like I felt a lot of pressure, even though I'd been in ALASC for a long time, and I had been part of the events team before that, so I already kind of knew all of our procedures. Just stepping into this role and suddenly being in charge of all of the events planning all of the events for the student organization felt very overwhelming. So I can say honestly that my first semester, last semester, the first few months were kind of rough because I was trying to get used to the new role and understanding like what it really was that I had to do or what my workflow ideally had to look like in order to make the student chapter successful. I literally apologized to Connor and Shannon and my events assistants because I was like, sorry, I feel like I'm dropping the ball and I don't know what I'm doing. But everyone kind of feels that way. So it's, that imposter syndrome. It's the I'm not doing as well as I could be doing. But I think everyone kind of experiences that. And knowing that the team is there to support you, like my events assistants, Connor and Shannon, they're both here tonight. They are awesome. And they were so forgiving with me when I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm trying my best to lead you guys. So just knowing that you have other people to support you on the team and that your onboarding is, you have a formal month to onboard, but it's kind of, you can take as much time as you need to really get adapted to your. So it is flexible. A lot of things in the organization
You're doing great, Kat.
are. Thank you.
Also, just out of curiosity, um, do you get any support from ALA? Sort of for, let's say you're looking for speakers, that's the only example I could think of. But there are many ways in which they could support you. Is that communication channel open?
That's a good question. As far as I know, we don't like formally stay in direct contact with ALA all the time because they are, a really big parent organization. But like I said, we did win like the Student Chapter of the Year award, and they gave us support to attend the annual conference that they held this summer. So there's that. And then yes, when we do need speaker events or whatever, we do have the benefit of saying like, hey, we're a student chapter of your organization and this is what we do. We encourage our student members to get involved in not only the student chapter, but like the ALA parent organization during their time in the school or after graduation. So like, how can you help us out? Because we're promoting you basically. So a lot of times when we just reach out to the ALA parent organization as the student chapter, like they're more than happy. They're more than happy, can't speak, to do speaker events with us, to provide support in whatever way they can. I know we've had like past presidents of the ALA come and do speaker events with us before, so there's that. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add.
I will say just in general for like speakers for our events, we have like an internal list of our former members of the executive committee that we can reach out to and be like, hey, do you want to come speak at our Connect Over Coffee event? Sure, and they'll show up. I had the luxury that I have a colleague at the library I work at who was also a part of the ALASC, and she graduated a couple of years ago. So I can just go to her office and bother her and be like, "Hey, you should show up to the speaker event for me, please." She doesn't have a choice, so it's great. But stuff like that is always very fun because we, try to reach out to a diverse group of people to get a bunch of different perspectives, even people who maybe have graduated 10 years ago or people who just graduated. And so that kind of helps in those scenarios.
Yeah, so Shannon is saying in the chat to follow up on what Connor is saying. Our chapter is 30 years old and we have a lot of alumni of the chapter we know about from past. So we do have a wide network of people we can reach out to every time we want to hold an event or if we're looking for alumni for our Connect Over. There are so many alumni who still remember their time in the student organization and they're more than happy to like come back and give back their time. And again, I think multiple of us have talked about that tonight, but just the network you build here, the connections you make, like professionally and personally. I know some of us will go on to be friends long after graduation, and just having people who go on to all types of librarianship. So you have this opportunity here to really connect people and build a cohort. Since I've been in ALASC for like at least 3 semesters now, I've been around for like multiple coming and going of different boards, and like literally every combination of people is different. So you get to work with so many types of people, and the dynamic of the team is always different depending on who's on the team. So it's fun. I think it's fun because it's like you're getting to see all these different types of personalities and how people work together and learning to work together.
Really awesome information. Thank you all. You all seem so passionate. That's awesome.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see any other questions. I think we are almost reaching the end of our time here. We have about 15 minutes left. One thing I guess I will put out to all of our executive committee members here is maybe do you all want to talk about what like concrete skills do you think from your position?
For me, it would definitely be the leadership aspect. I had never been in a leadership role, even in the other student groups that I was in. And when I initially joined this one, I was an assistant role. And so, like, going up into a leadership role, uh, you can put that on not only like your resume, you can use this stuff for your e-port, um, when you're about to graduate. It's like tangible hands-on skills that you can, that you contributed to something, that you spoke at an event, that you helped plan an event, um, things like that. Those skills are very hard to come by when you're in like an online environment. Like Connor said, you're just sitting and doing classwork. So to have those like is so helpful, at least for me. Like it boosted my resume like crazy.
For me, a skill that I gained was outreach. Talking to people outside of my circle to try to coordinate events, for example, um, is something that I had like varying degrees of experience with in one way or another in previous jobs or previous clubs that I was in. But here I kind of had to really focus in on it because I wanted to make an event happen. Therefore, I had to be really passionate about this outreach. So I can't, I'm saying it in the past tense, but right now, I can't let, things kind of slip away if I want to have an event happen. And I'm very passionate about an event. I want to make sure that it happens. So I have to be on top of my outreach. And so I really had to get good at cold emailing and stuff like that, or how to write the perfect email because um, when I write emails, I'm very like blunt, and then sometimes it's not the best for an email to someone you don't know. So I had to like work on, fluffing it up a little bit and making it very nice. Not that I'm not nice, but you know what I mean. Um, yeah.
For me, I would say teaching. This semester was my first role as the leader for the blogging team, and I received two blog assistants that I also had to train. So, being able to communicate effectively with two people who have never written a blog post before, and also teaching through email, teaching through Zoom, teaching through text message, showing them how to write a blog post in like a certain tone and then to look up an image, how to find an image. I usually try to take the same image that we use for like our promotions. If there isn't an existing image, I'll have to just like create one in Canva. And then also to helping them troubleshoot any issues. If someone's like, oh my gosh, I forgot my WordPress login, helping them do all that kind of stuff.
For me, I think I would say that I find myself working on my researching skills. So looking for, like I said earlier, looking for trends in the current trends that are going on in the library world. So also though, I think some technical things like learning to use certain pieces of software that I didn't even know existed. So I never was a newsletter writer, so I wasn't sure how to do that. So I had to learn how to do that, and there's you learn about like several pieces of software, platforms, whatever you want to call them, that are out there, um, so we use Substack. So you learn that, and so I guess you learn about writing newsletters, and which is, I think, it's kind of a big thing nowadays. There's a lot of people on not just Substack but on other platforms too. So those are a couple of things that I've been working on, skill wise, I would say.
Sorry, one last question that I thought. So I apologize. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
I forgot to ask, you guys must have an advisor, a faculty advisor, yes or no? Yeah,
We do.
okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah, she's awesome. Our faculty advisor, Allison Johnson, um, usually attends our executive committee, provides support like however we need her. But really, I would say the student organization is like totally student run. So she kind of just gives us, free reign to make of it what we want. She supports us and advises us. But again, it's like we get to make what we want to make. We build what we want to build with it. So it's just a really good opportunity to practice your leadership skills and exercise your creativity. What I was going to say is that I think for me, the biggest skill that I've gotten to practice and learn from this position or being in ALAC is like public speaking, which I'm doing right now. Similar to what Connor said, I kind of feel uncomfortable reaching out to people and putting myself out there because I'm not the most confident in my public speaking skills. But obviously, right now I'm talking over Zoom, so being in this role has given me the opportunity to work on that and feel more comfortable with just reaching out to people and presenting in any kind of setting, which I think is a really important like personal and professional skill to have. So like going to conferences and meeting people in person and being able to talk to them about my poster that I did for ALASC, or putting on this event and making everyone feel comfortable and creating an environment. So that was something that I've really gotten to work on during my time. And obviously it's something that keeps going on, but it was really great to have the opportunity to do that through this position. So we do have about 10 minutes left. Are there any closing questions from anyone in our audience? Anything that we haven't covered that you're still very curious about?
I would actually like to bring up the fact that a lot of the people in leadership positions within our committee, within other committees, hold multiple roles on multiple committees. It's something Shannon brought up in the chat. So if you're really worried about time commitment, again, it's like what you want to make out of it. Do you want to be like a secretary in one and have like basically like a more active role in one organization and a more passive role in another? If you find yourself like torn between a couple, it's definitely possible to balance multiple roles at the same time with coursework and a job and some semblance of a life and responsibilities.
Yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out, Jade, because it's so true. Like for me, myself personally, I have been part of ALASC, and then I'm also the vice chair for the AANHPI student group, which is like a newly formed group for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders at the iSchool. So a lot of people definitely have multiple roles in student organizations. Like Rebecca said, she's part of the first gen group. Shannon is also part of the UX group here at the iSchool. So we're all involved in a lot of different ways. I think that just means that once you join a student organization, you start to get addicted to like the community and like the opportunities that it gives you. So then you just can't help but get involved in like more. But it's awesome. Anyone else have closing remarks so we can start wrapping?
I just want to say thank you. I guess I love talking about my experience at the ALASC because I did not realize how important it would be in my iSchool journey when I first started. I kind of was just doing it, like I said, to kind of meet people and not feel so alone. But then I realized the impact that each event has, that each conversation has, that each, newsletter sent out has, because that's one more person that you're reaching out to, whether informally or formally. And I think that's something that's very important. And in my role, I work a full-time job, I'm doing school, but I still, find time, every week to dedicate a little time to this because it's something I'm very passionate about. And I hope that you all are as well.
I agree with what Connor said, especially as I was entering my last year of this program. I really wanted to meet people and hopefully build an internal network before I got launched into the wilds of librarianship. So it's been really helpful in that regard. And again, because these student groups, you work together so closely, you get to know each other as peers and friends. Sorry, that's my cat Guava. You make friends. Like I'm still friends with a lot of us are still friends and actively talking to people who left last semester or last year. And it's really nice that you have this network of people, not only immediately while you're in this role, but beyond it as well. So definitely another thing to consider with any student group. And thank you again, everyone, for making the time to come out tonight.
Thank you all for speaking. I'm in my first semester at the iSchool, so I'm just starting out, and yeah, definitely time commitment is a thing on my mind. But it is good to sort of to get to know, I guess, professionals and outside of, because I also work in a library, in an academic library, but I think getting to know people through professional organizations is a little different and valuable in its own way. So this seems like a great opportunity to do that. So thank you all for organizing the event and for speaking.
Thank you so much for coming. And I totally agree. Like I said earlier, those of us in the student organization go on to work in many different kinds of libraries. So I think that's the cool part about it. Like I am personally not interested at all in academic librarianship, but I have colleagues here who are in academic librarianship or people who will go on to be in special libraries and things like that. So getting to work with people outside of my public librarianship bubble is so nice because you get different perspectives. So thank you to everyone for coming tonight and having the interest in learning more about our organization. So like I mentioned at the beginning of the event, we will be starting our election cycle and recruitment for new leadership positions soon. The vacancies that we're going to have will be for chair, vice chair, treasurer, events coordinator, events assistant, social media assistants, and membership coordinator. So there's a lot of opportunity to get involved at any level you want. So we will be sending that out shortly, announcing it to the whole iSchool, and it'll be sent out via email, and we'll be posting it on our social media and all that good stuff. So if you're not already following us on those channels, please do. I will also be sending up like a follow-out email after this event, just so you have all of the information that we shared during this talk, and you can review that. And this recording will also be available for rewatching and for the people who couldn't come tonight. So if you have any other questions, please do feel free to reach out to us after the event, and we will look forward to some of you hopefully joining us as part of our leadership. Thank you all for coming tonight.